Yeah, so mental health has always been something that has been close to home. I've had family members, very immediate family members, who've dealt with different mental health issues from depression, anxiety, substance use. It's been very difficult to kind of see them navigate or try to navigate through mental health without really having the tools to really understand it or to really combat it. And the fact that there's a variety of different stigmas, mental health stigmas that are in the world that really kind of hold you hostage a little bit in terms of seeking help because of the different shames, the different um, associations that people have with mental health, particularly when it comes to communities of color. Right? We have this idea, this perception that we have so much going on in our lives that we kind of have to put our mental health to the background, and that's not true. We really should always try to uplift our mental health and put it in the forefront because at the end of the day, it makes a difference in our everyday life, our physical health, our mental health, and our overall well-being. Yeah, so there's definitely a huge correlation in terms of public health and mental health. When we look at the statistics, 1 in 5 people have anxiety or depression. And then when we look at suicide rates have increased exponentially with, 1 in 4 people thinking about committing suicide or taking their own life within the last couple of years. And all of this has been, hyper augmented because of the COVID pandemic. When people have realized that when they're by themselves, there's a lot of different things that are going on in their mind that they haven't really been able to sort out. And so we see that mental health has always been important, but now we realize that the lack of mental health services, the lack of access to mental health, the stigma that is perpetuated by mental health, has all come together to visualize how mental health is honestly a crisis in our nation. Yeah, absolutely. So I've had to use mental health resources for myself personally, dealing with things from anxiety to even panic attacks. And it's something that I've never been confident enough to say. I never really felt that it was accepted. But you realize that when you share some of your struggles, then a lot of other people feel empowered to share their struggles. And so I utilized therapy for those instances and really enjoyed it. And so I began to use it more often and more consistently. Often in medical school, I'll use mental health resources, once a week, just to kind of tap into some of the things I've been doing and have been kind of going through my mind when I'm on the wards and really kind of diving in and having that introspective look on things and how it impacts me. And I think that's important to understand is how are things impacting me? And if I don't know how things are impacting me, how can I figure that out? And I think therapy is an amazing tool that really allows you to kind of put those pieces together and figure out how to best manage your mental health and your overall well being. Yeah, I think to normalize mental health, you have to talk about it. You have to be able to kind of go deep into your communities, go deep into your family tables and with your friends at the barber shop or at the beauty shop, and you just have to really talk about those things. Talk about the things that you're dealing with, your hardships, your traumas that you have to deal with as a child and into adulthood, and really kind of get to the crux of a lot of the different things that we're ashamed to talk about and figure out why we're ashamed to talk about it. And I think in that comes power, and I think in that comes community. Public health is all about raising stronger and healthier communities. And I believe when you talk about things, you're raising yourself to be a stronger individual, and overall, that will bring a strong community, one person at a time, one community at a time. Yeah, there are a variety of mental health services that are available. We think often about therapy as kind of one of those go to things, whether it's a group therapy session or an individual therapy session, couples counseling, individual counseling, even psychiatric management. A lot of times people deal with anxieties and depressions that kind of need a little bit of that extra pharmacological support as well. But there's also things that you can do at home. A lot of times it just starts with meditating, right? Like I meditate for about 30 minutes every morning to kind of get myself primed for the day because I know that's what I need for my mental health and I know that's what I need to be ready to start the day and to kind of clear my mind of all the different distractions from the day before. And so figuring out what those tools look like, whether it's meditation, whether it's creative outlets like writing poetry or drawing or designs or anything of that nature. Figuring out what those things are, how they align with your interests, can really allow you to, champion your mental health, even when you don't have those access to those different therapies and other mental health resources. Mental health is important to me because I recognize the impact that it can have on an individual, and I recognize the impact it can have on communities. I watched my family members deal with mental health, and it was very difficult as a child seeing that. And it's actually, in a way, kind of put a fire in my belly to, be an agent of change for that. I have an interest in being a psychiatrist, and I think a lot of that stems because I recognize there's so much value when you can champion your own mental health, when you can, figure out those different things that have been going on in your life and figure out the best way to overcome them, figure out the different coping skills to be the best version of you that you can be. And then ultimately being able to pour that back into the community. And I think that's what it's really all about, right? Just kind of understanding how we can uplift our communities. And when we uplift our communities, we are painting a better picture for tomorrow and a better picture for the next generation. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing.